Daybreak आप सुन रहे हैं. Every Mondays we have Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. Do check out tallysolutions.com, and to know more you can always call 800 Tally as well. We'll give you more details on that, but let's welcome our guest CA Nirav Shah in the studios.
That's right. He is the founder and managing director of FAME Adversary DMCC. Nirav is qualified as chartered accountant from Gujarat, India. Being an excellent academia, he has secured 6th rank in Inter-CA and 36th rank in CA finals. He then moved to KPMG in Mumbai. He has over 20 plus years of experience from own practice to leading consulting firm to working with large family-owned corporate groups, and his hands-on experience of establishing and managing structures and compliances in more than 12 jurisdictions, evolving suitable corporation structures for holding companies, acquisition of businesses, financing and IP optimization structures. Amazing portfolio. Thank you so much for being in the studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you all? Hi, Vivek. How are you?
I am excellent, sir. Full on energy. The weekend was amazing.
Yes.
You did something special this weekend?
No. Just watch the movie.
There were a lot of interesting movies that have been released, yeah. And summer is a good time to watch movies.
Oh, it is, yeah. There's nothing much you can do.
Yes.
Go to the malls,
Yeah.
indoor, AC.
Yeah.
Today we're discussing very interesting subject, how corporate tax will affect individuals and how it will affect real estate as well. So let's come to situations, starting with the first one. For example, let's name Mr. A. Now, Mr. A earned salary income of 1.1 million dirhams during the financial year. Will this salary income earned by Mr. A subject to corporate tax? We know that there is no income tax. But what about a salary of 1.1 million? Will that come under the purview?
So, let's set the basics correctly. It's a corporate tax. Does not apply to individuals. Only applies to individual in selected circumstances. So, all your wage, salary, even investment income from your investment portfolio, and even investment income from a real estate portfolio are all exempt for individuals. Now, both cases of individual who are living and residing here, or individual who are living abroad and just investing in property here. Both of them, all this income is not taxable here.
Right.
What is taxable is only if you are carrying on a business. So you are a freelancer, you are consultants, and you are earning income above $1 million in that business only, not overall income. Then only that part of the business income will be taxed for UAE corporate tax purposes.
Right.
Nothing else. So salary of whatever amount, whether 1.1 million or 5 million, is not taxed.
So individuals, when you say it's not taxed because it is corporate tax, as you mentioned, but if you take a real estate agent, for example, so that falls under an individual.
So technically all your real estate agents are an employee of a broking firm.
Right.
And they have a dual compensation mechanism.
Correct.
One is a fixed salary component, and then there is a commission component, which is part of their employment income. So as long as it is part of their employment income, mentioned as per their labor and other contracts, all that will go under zero taxation. No taxation.
Whatever the amount be. Because we've seen, real estate properties worth 230 million and 250 million. So I can't even comprehend the kind of commission the brokers must have made, and that not coming under corporate tax. So kabhi digest nahi ho pata ye baat, but it doesn't, irrespective of the amount.
So irrespective. So I mean, take a transaction of 250 million.
Right.
You will have a 2% brokerage.
My God.
So broking firm will earn 5 million. Right?
Crazy.
Now then they may have an arrangement with the broker depending on his seniority or whatever.
50-50 or 60-40.
Yeah, whatever. So he might earn say 50-50 and 2.5 million out of the deal.
1.25.
Right?
2.5 out of 5 million.
Right?
Wow.
Now, but again, if it is part of his employment contract, as a commission entitlement for him and not as a freelancer.
Right. So a lot of agents also work as freelancers with the company.
So that they need to revisit. If you are an employee of the company and it's part of your employment contract to earn commission based on your sales, that's fine.
So one thing is clear, कि आपको salary income या commission income based on your job contract, it is not under corporate tax. Now, moving on to the next situation. For example, Mr. Y has earned dividend income from a UAE-based company for an amount of, let's say, 750,000. Now, will this dividend income earned by Mr. Y subject to corporate tax?
Again, no, because two things. For individuals, investment income is also not taxable.
Yeah.
Right? So it's also not taxable. But over and above that, under UAE corporate tax law, dividend from a local UAE company is exempt income.
Okay.
So earned even by a company or whosoever, it still remains exempt.
Oh, great. For example, I have invested in Diva shares and I get dividend every 6 months. That is not at all taxable.
No taxation.
Even as a company, if I have invested, I will not.
That also will not be taxed.
Dividend income is exempt.
Is exempt for local dividends. For foreign dividends, there are some more conditions attached, but that's all. But still, you can get into exemption.
And then also talking about investment. So if I'm a property owner, that rental income I get would not be taxed.
If you own in your individual capacity.
Right. My own property.
Yes.
The rental income will not be taxed.
You will not be taxed.
Right. Okay.
But if the same property you own through, say, a company, the company will have to pay tax.
So
on the
a
rental.
lot of property developers here do own some inventory because their investors do have certain properties.
Yes.
And if you're earning rental income from that, that is a business transaction.
Because it's earned by a company.
Right.
And if it is earned by a company, on an average, if you look at today real estate taxation, anything that is earned by a company which owns real estate, except for real estate which is in a free zone and which is commercial real estate and which is also leased to another free zone company, that can get 0% taxation, but all the others are taxable.
Oh, very
anything that
interesting
falls
point.
under a company. A
Yeah.
company name and not an individual name will be
Yes,
taxed.
yes.
Oh, interesting.
So taking on from Sharon's question, for example, I am living in India. I have a property here in UAE and I earn a rental income of 1.5 million. Now, do I have to pay tax? I'm a resident in India. I'm not a resident in UAE. Do I have to pay?
So as an individual, if you own, UAE corporate tax will not be levied on you because you are earning a rental income.
Okay.
However, since you are an Indian resident, you are anyway paying 40% tax in India.
In India, right. So double taxation is avoided that way. 1.5 million to 40.
Good question, Vivek.
So in India, I have to pay for the money that I'm earning in
Yeah,
UAE.
that was
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere.
If you are an Indian tax resident, whatever income you earn anywhere in the world is taxable.
Right. So that is why you see a lot of people changing their status to NRI and coming
That's
here
right.
and living here for
That's right.
more than
6
180
months,
days.
yes.
Very interesting.
Talk 100.3.
Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. Power of simplicity. Do log on to tallysolutions.com और सारे business owners के लिए life will be made simplified. To know more, tallysolutions.com पे log on कर सकते हैं. सी नीरव शाह से हमारी बातें हो रही है. अगर आपके पास कोई भी सवाल, you can send us a WhatsApp. And we were discussing how corporate tax is going to impact individuals and how it's going to impact the real estate industry.
So yes, I do have another question. Now, if there's an individual earning a consultancy income of about 3 million by rendering consultancy services to a real estate company in the UAE, whether this income is earned and will it be liable in corporate tax?
Surely, because it's part of your business or profession that you're carrying on, and it's not an employment income. It's not an investment income, right? So if you carry on freelancing, consulting, any of the business activity, whether with or without license, even then, okay, if you are earning above $1 million dirham revenue from that, you are supposed to register for tax. You're supposed to file your tax return. You're supposed to pay your taxes.
Right.
And pay your taxes only on your net income. But to determine whether you're taxable or not, your gross revenue is to be looked at. So in this case, you're earning 3 million, then yes, you need to register and file your return. But then you have to also maintain your books where Tally can help you.
Right.
And then you come to your net profit and then you offer your tax on the net profit.
Very interesting. Important points to make sure that, कि आप ध्यान रखें. Now, we got a message from Sky. He is an NRI. He is selling his property. Does he have to pay any tax in India? He is an NRI living here, but does he have to pay tax for his property when he's selling it in India? Capital gain tax, I think, hota hai.
If his property is in India,
Yeah.
yes, he has to pay taxes in India. For capital gains will apply to him. If he is talking about his property here, if he's a non-resident and he's not a tax resident of India, then he doesn't need to worry about Indian taxes.
Right. So Indian property उन्होंने लिखा है, which means that as an NRI he has to pay.
Yeah, then he has to pay capital gains tax in India. After paying that taxes, he can bring all that money back to UAE if he wants to.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. So your questions on 0586861003 या 800-81003 पे आप हमें phone भी कर सकते हैं. We got another question. Hello, Mr. Nirav. We are a group of partners, all running different stream of consultancies, but all registered under a single trade license. Now, jointly, our profits exceed the threshold of 375,000, but individually, our incomes are disparate. We had our own advantages of coming under one hub. However, due to onset of corporate tax, do you recommend splitting our business and registering separately as a last resort?
Not really. If you're already registered as a license, you can continue to be taxed as one common entity. And what would be more beneficial is that you can convert your arrangement to an employment contract with the company, so that whatever compensation you get from the company will remain not taxable in your hands, whereas the company will still get deduction on it from a tax point of view. So for example, collectively you earn 3 million in a company and there are 4 partners, right? So your operating expenses, I'm assuming that it's 2 million out of 3, right? So you have a profit of 1 million. Now there are 4 partners, so you can easily pay each of them 100 or 200,000 as salaries for working towards the benefit.
Right.
And then that salary is tax deductible.
Okay.
As long as we can justify that the activity that they are doing in market, if they would have hired anybody, they
Arm's
would have paid
length.
at the same rate
Right.
and they are not disproportionately charging higher salaries,
Right.
then they can get deduction. So those amount of salary is zero tax in their hands. And if you remove 800,000 out of 1 million profit, then you are left with only 200,000.
Correct.
So you're not paying tax in company's hands also.
Correct.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Effectively.
Superb यार. I think ये जो आपने advice यहाँ पे दिया ना, ये तो $1 million advice था.
हाँ, but उसके लिए कंसल्टिंग फी नहीं बना रहा हूँ, देखो.
Can that be included as an exempt or an expense in your tax return filing?
No.
No. The charges that the consultants, the tax consultants charge, no, you cannot
Of
include
course.
it as
Yes, yes.
expenses.
So-
You can, right?
Yes, yes. So if they are going to pay me a consulting fee, they'll get a deduction.
Couple of more questions. Naresh का सवाल आया है कि I have good morning, CA Nirav. My European company branch financial year ends in Davza in December. So your return will be filed in December 2024. Please, can you confirm this?
So your first taxable year will be starting as of 1st of January 24. Your first tax year will end in December of 24. Your first return will be due by 30th of September 25.
Okay.
And you'll have to file and pay taxes by or before that.
Right. And also registering you can take
You
your
can
time
do,
into
yeah.
it. Yeah. Also got another query. Can you repeat the answer for getting amount from a sold property in India? I missed it due to some error in the radio. So basically अगर आपकी property है, आप NRI हो, इंडिया में अगर आप बेच रहे हो अपनी property, you have to pay tax
In India.
in India.
So in India, the capital gains will apply. However, that will not be taxable for you in UAE corporate tax as the subject that we are talking about.
Superb. So if you have any more questions, you can always send us a WhatsApp या phone भी कर सकते हैं 800-81003 या 0586861003. Yeah, Sharon, you want to ask a next question?
Well, yes, I do actually. So, Limited Incorporated in USA has earned a rental income of 150,000. I think we touched on the topic just a little from real estate property located here in the UAE. Whether rental income earned shall be liable for corporate tax. As you mentioned, it's only if it's under a company.
Yes. So
Yes.
in this case, if it is a company which is even set up in US or BVI or wherever, if it owns a property in UAE, that company is required to file and pay taxes here on the income that it earns from the property located here, be it rental or be it capital gains when tomorrow they sell it.
Right.
So in all the cases, if it is held under a company, one is liable to register, one is liable to file the tax return and pay the necessary taxes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Even on a rental. Even on a
Everything.
rental. Oh,
Rental,
okay. I thought it was
capital
only
gains,
sales.
anything
Okay.
that you earn from the real estate which is situated in UAE,
Yeah.
you need to comply.
So when we talk about a rental income of 150,000 a year or a month, 150,000 a month, let's say, तो then वो threshold आप पहुंचोगे, नहीं तो आप नहीं पहुंचोगे वो threshold.
So again, I am sure you have gone through a lot of sessions. So threshold do not apply for registration and filing.
Correct.
You have to still register and file.
Right.
You may file a nil return
Right.
if you are not paying taxes.
Right.
That's fine.
That's very important.
But
कि
you
compliance
need to,
up.
compliance is required.
Also got a message. What is the percentage of capital gain tax for property sold in India? So a lot of people are being have a lot of questions regarding this.
I understand, but it will depend on how long you have held the property for, whether it will be long-term capital gain or short-term capital gain. So long-term is 20% on properties, but short-term could be as high as your personal income tax rate. So you need to see how long you have held the property for, and accordingly the tax will apply to you in India.
What is the bracket? As in how long you've held the property for? So a short
3 years
3 years would
is
be
short-term.
is short term. Okay.
And
And
al-
anything more is long term. Okay.
And also, if you have a mortgage on that property and you sell it and you probably don't make any profit out of it, then still you'll have to.
So no.
No, right?
No.
Yeah. अगर वो settle हो रहा है उतना ही mortgage.
is way of financing. So your cost will be total cost that you bought it for, and you look at your total sale consideration. The difference is what you pay capital gains on.
Okay.
Mortgage
So आप
is
दिखा सकते हो
whether
कि मैंने loss में बेचा नहीं. Okay.
if it is actual loss, yes.
Distress sale होता है ना? Distress
हाँ.
sale
Yeah.
काफी होता है यार.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2007 till 2003. So this is long term. Then he
Yeah,
has
so
to.
then 20%.
20%. Great. Question 0586861003. We got another question from Sky. I am doing trading commodities and US market as well. I earn around 500,000 plus in a year. Do I have to pay any tax in Dubai?
If you are doing investment as investment portfolio, like you hold stocks in US stocks, like what he is mentioning, then that's fine. But if you are doing active trading in commodities, maybe on exchanges and all, it could tantamount to a business which is being carried on, and it's not passive investment that you are holding. So if it is a business and if you earn more than $1 million, so if it is 500,000, what he's referring to is dollars.
Right. Then
He'll
it will
have
come
to-
to dirhams. Yeah, उतना
That's
ज़्यादा
right.
आ
So
जाएगा.
then he'll have to, if it is below 1 million dirhams, then he doesn't have to bother about anything.
Superb. आपके questions आप भेज सकते हैं. See, Nirav Shah is more than happy to answer them. 0586861003. Yeah, give us a call. 808-1003. This is Talk Compliance, brought to you by Tally Solutions.
Talk 100.3.
CA Nirav Shah हमारे स्टूडियो में Talk Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. To get to know more about Tally Solutions, you can log on to tallysolutions.com. We got a message about this. जब group of partner का question था और आपने उसको इतने अच्छे से समझाया, उन्होंने लिखा thank you for this very helpful. And is this fixed show every week? Of course, every Mondays and Fridays. And whatever you miss आज ना, Friday को आपको वापस ही सुनने मिलता है.
I do have another question actually. So moving on. Now, a foreign company earned rental income from immovable property situated in the UAE, which is subject to corporate tax, has decided to transfer immovable property in the name of its owner so as to claim the benefits of Cabinet Decision number 49 of 2023. Can a limited do such transfer?
So as you all know that UAE Corporate Tax also has general anti-abuse rules provision, and therefore you do something where you clearly get a tax benefit could be disregarded by the tax authority, and they may not allow you even the exemption in your personal hands if they hold it to be for tax evasion or tax avoidance perspective. So one needs to be very, very careful to transfer the property that they own through the companies into their personal hands, because general anti-abuse rule will squarely apply to such situations.
We got a question from Madhu. Now the thing is कि this has been quite a big concern for many कि हम पैसों की जब बात करते हैं एक threshold पहुंचना. So Madhu wants to know, can an individual who has properties in UAE and has income of more than 500,000 have to pay tax?
Can you repeat that?
As an
He has
individual,
property, हाँ.
properties है UAE में और yearly income है 500,000.
So individual earning wages, individual earning income from properties, individual earning investment income, all of this is exempt. You don't pay any taxes on any of this. So
But
if
as
you
a
earn,
freelancer, आप करते हो ये सारी चीजें,
Then
even
you
as
do-
property.
yes. So anything that you do
But
as
मेरा
a business.
मेरा freelance काम है, let's say organizing events.
So freelance काम अगर organizing event का है तो उससे जो income है वो taxable
That
है.
is taxable.
Not your rental income from your property.
If that is your business, then
Then
is.
it's a different.
Okay, so Madhu doesn't have to pay any corporate tax
No.
from any rental income they earn.
Not at all.
Superb. Also got a question. Celebrated tax professional CA Nirav Shah. My question: when landlord has properties in own name, but managed by his sole establishment with 100% of his own company, which collects rental income and maintains property, whether rental income is liable to corporate tax? This question has come from Nishant Raima.
Nishant, thank you for your complicated question.
Should I repeat it again?
No. So yes, if in fact Nishant will know the answer also, but he's just asking
Confirm करने के लिए.
confirm करने के लिए. But okay, so landlord owning a property in individual capacity is not going to pay tax on rental. However, sole proprietorship is also an extension of a landlord.
Correct.
It's not a separate entity because it's sole proprietorship. Now, sole proprietorship, if it is raising invoices in the name of the landlord only for rental, even if though it's collecting or whatever and paying maintenance and all that thing, it will still be all that is done by the individual. So if you organize it in a manner that it is done already by an individual, the individual exemptions will apply suitably. But there are a lot of landlords who give their properties to companies
Yeah.
to manage.
Correct.
Now, if the company is collecting, company is going to pay tax on it.
But the company is not earning that money. They're
No,
charging
but-
a service fee.
So, if company charges only a service fee to the landlord, that's fine.
Okay.
But a lot of companies then go and raise the rental in their own name as a sublease.
Absolutely. You're right.
So, if they do that, they are going to pay taxes on that.
Oh.
Oh, right. Yeah.
This is
But
a
an
big,
individual is not going to pay tax.
This is a big decision then as a company.
So, see, it's not wrong to organize yourself in a separate manner as a corporate or anything, because you are looking at it more from a liability protection and few other things, right? But all of that now, because of corporate tax, you are exposed to taxation on that.
That's what it is. If an invoice is raised within the company, you're still going to be paying taxes on that rental income, although it is an individual owner to the property.
So the arrangement then is that the individual owner has let it to the company,
Yes.
and the company is subletting.
Okay,
So
yeah.
the income that company is earning, they will pay tax on.
Yeah.
What they in turn pay to landlord, they'll get a deduction on.
Right.
But they'll only pay the tax on the net amount, right?
Oh, yeah.
Superb. अगर आपके पास भी सवाल, you can always send us a WhatsApp 0586861003 या 800-81003 पे फोन कीजिए. News and sports and we'll be back.
Talk 100.3.
This is Stock Compliance brought to you by Tally Solutions. Log on to tallysolutions.com या कॉल कीजिए 800-TALLY क्योंकि आपका काम जो है एज अ बिजनेस ओनर बहुत सिंप्लीफाइड हो जाएगा. सी नीरव शाह से बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बातें एंड ही इज बीन क्लियरिंग सो मेनी डाउट्स दैट सो मेनी पीपल हैव एंड सबसे मेन डाउट हैज बीन सो फार इज द पर्सनल कैपेसिटी पे जो आप इनकम कमा रहे हो, स्पेशली रेंटल इनकम. सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर दैट क्लैरिटी. Also moving on to our next question.
Yes, I do have another one. So, Limited is a facility management company engaged in providing facilities services to hotels situated here in the UAE, wherein it earns service income. So, whether such service income is subject to corporate tax?
Yes, fully.
Okay.
Because it's an income which is earned by a company,
Right.
right? And local services income, so no exemption benefits, anything. You have to pay full tax on that income.
So facility management, just to give clarity to everyone, is basically those management who makes sure that it's normally outsourced by the developers, right?
Yeah.
And they are the ones who maintain your community or...
So there are two types of facility management. One is for the buildings where you do local upkeep, maintenance and all of that.
Correct.
Here in this example, we are talking about facility management given to a hotel.
Hotel.
Yeah.
So hotel even doesn't have to employ people, and people come at regular time, do the cleaning, do this, do that, and go away. So both of this, but anyway, it's a service, will be taxable in the hands of the company which is providing this service.
Superb. Now, Mr. B is a freelancer. He's providing interior designing services in UAE, but without a license. Whether this income earned by Mr. B is subject to corporate tax?
So yes, he is providing a freelancing commercial service as a business, and if that income goes above $1 million dirham, he is supposed to register and file for taxes.
Okay. Register as in, so then that means he will have a license.
No, register as in an individual taxpayer
Right. Okay.
carrying on a business
Hmm.
and registering for tax purposes.
But
But you did not take a license still if he doesn't have to.
Right now, the question arises कि जब आपको invoice देना पड़ता है to the company, how do you provide it in the individual capacity?
So that's where some of these things are at times challenging,
Right.
and that's why people obtain freelancing licenses, right? So they
Yeah.
have freelance permits and licenses,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So then they can issue invoices in individual capacity, or if somebody is employed somewhere and rendering a one-off service,
Okay.
he can still provide that invoice because he's not required to register, because he's not carrying on as a regular thing. In this case, of course, because he's carrying on as a regular business, ideal would be to register as a freelancer and then raise an invoice. But yes,
Superb. Now,
So we did talk a little bit about rental income, and I think most of the questions that we've been getting is with regards to selling property and what will be taxed or not. What about free zone companies? So if there's a free zone company that's given a warehouse or something on rent to a mainland company here in the UAE, how would that work exactly?
so like we said that any company earning any real estate income is taxable, except only one situation where it is a free zone company which leases commercial real
properties.
estate
Yeah.
to another free zone company.
Oh,
For
Right.
example, Media City, let's say.
So if it is Media City, or in this case a warehouse
a warehouse.
Yeah.
Right.
which is owned by a free zone company, which is let out to, if it is let out to another free zone company,
Okay.
they would have been entitled to a 0% rate.
Mhm.
Whereas in this case, because it is let out to a mainland company,
yes.
they'll pay full tax on whatever rental income that they earn.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
We got another question now. If partners in LLC company is paid managerial remuneration, what is the threshold limit or limit percentage of profit? Sales incentive paid to key sales personnel are deductible, and is there any threshold limit for the same? So I think two questions are here.
Yeah, so let's divide the two. So one is a partner earning a management remuneration. What they have mentioned today in the law is whatever you are paying needs to be at an arm's length.
Right.
If you would have hired anybody to render same kind of service, what would you have paid?
Okay.
And you cannot pay more than that.
Hmm.
General threshold is about 10 to 15% of your net profit, because that's what is acceptable for listed companies and otherwise.
Okay.
So that's the benchmark that one needs to keep in mind. But there's no fixed amount which is prescribed in the law that this is the only one that you can pay,
Hmm.
right? So that's for the owner.
Okay.
Now, if it is a sales employee which is getting
Incentive.
which is linked to performance, that's perfectly fine as long as you mention that very clearly in your employment contract.
For example, a company is making a profit of 100 million, और वो बोलते कि as a sales executive, you have the entitlement of getting, let's say, 1% of it. No problem with the money.
No problem with the quantum of the money. Your terms of the employment needs to very clearly state that you are entitled to your fixed salary of X, plus these are the allowances, plus this is the incentive which is based on the performance.
But what if the sales executive is the relative of the owner?
Then of course it becomes a related party transaction, and therefore then you need to see whether you are paying arm's length remuneration or not.
Superb, yaar. There's so much
Very
to know, so much
interesting.
intricacies into it.
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's not as straightforward.
We don't want to keep it.
that's why you have CA Nirav Shah. That's why you have Fame Advisory, TMCC. If you have any questions, CA Nirav Shah हमारे स्टूडियो में है. You can send us a WhatsApp 0586861003. You can give us a call 800-81003.
Talk 100.3.
टॉक कंप्लायंस ब्रॉट टू यू बाय टैली सॉल्यूशंस. tallysolutions.com पे आप लॉग ऑन कर सकते हैं और आपके सवाल आप हमें भेज भी सकते हैं on 0586861003. Now I have this question. As a company, if you have a rental income, is it allowed that if I have that property on mortgage and I can use those interest payments as an expense while filing returns?
Definitely. So, as a company, you will get deduction of whatever are the eligible expenditure, right? So, if you're earning rental income in the company, you can deduct the interest that you are paying on your mortgage as a deduction, and only on the net amount is where you have to pay taxes.
Right.
So, the tax incidence is not going to be that high. It's only on the net profit, that too at 9%, that too after the threshold of 375,000.
But that clarity is important. It's all about meeting those compliance requirements more than anything.
So that's correct. What we are trying to drive home is that till now we were in a market where compliance was not a mandatory requirement.
Right.
Now after VAT came in, it became mandatory for some. Those who were still not within the VAT framework were enjoying happily. Now with corporate tax coming in, that is becoming a bit more wider. Because see, in VAT you had to register only if you had turnover above a certain threshold.
Right.
In corporate tax, you have to register moment you have a license.
As a business.
As a business, right? So whatever company that has been set up, whether in offshore, whether in a free zone, whether in mainland, whether doing business, whether not doing business, everyone needs to register and file, right?
Okay.
So therefore your keeping books are important. Maintaining proper books with people like Tally is important. Then providing those justification and filing your tax returns is important.
Correct.
Now all this is the new rule order, as we say.
Yeah, new
right?
regulations, new norms.
So earlier though this was not there. So you never needed to pay so much attention to all these things. Now because corporate tax is important, your accounting methodology, your accounting policies, your accounting systems and everything becomes important.
Correct.
Because what you put in as expense, is it deductible or not? What you recognize as revenue, is it to be recognized as revenue or not? Or should I do it in next year? I'm following real estate as 3 or 4 year, 5 year project terms.
Yeah.
What accounting standard do I follow is more important. That do I recognize revenue over this 3, 4, 5 year period? Or do I only recognize when I conclude my sale?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So all of that is now under prime focus. Earlier, did anybody pay attention to it? No. You had to pay attention as a business owner that you wanted to report it correctly. But now even there is a requirement from a regulatory point of view to make sure that you do all this correctly. So accounting systems, following correct accounting, maintaining proper books, all of this is going to have much more importance than what it had in last so many years.
True.
Yeah, people are paying a lot more attention now, and you have to because of
have
all
to.
these regulations.
And also individuals are paying more attention now.
Yeah.
Considering the amount of rental income that everyone's earning, and it is quite a
Right.
revelation for me actually.
No, it is absolutely. But in your expert opinion, do you see the rental incomes, just as what we've been talking about, being taxed in the future?
So, I mean, if you want me to put a crystal ball to it, I can't guess that. But at the moment, let's understand it very clearly. UAE has very clearly mentioned that we are not going to introduce individual taxation or personal
till
tax.
2026, right?
No.
Acha, okay.
It's not till they have not said we are not going to introduce. We are not considering at the moment.
Okay.
Now, knowing UAE for so many years, they'll not take lead in introducing any such kind of thing
Correct.
unless it is mandated.
Right.
Today also it's corporate tax or VAT came in because it was mandated.
Right.
Right.
Did government needed a tax revenue? Not really. Right? But there was more an economic pressure from overseas leading bodies. Plus we wanted to increase our own standing or reputation as a compliant economy, and therefore we are introducing all this.
Okay.
Now, do we have personal taxation anywhere in GCC? Not yet.
Yeah.
Only country which is considering, even at the moment, considering is Oman,
Oh,
Right.
which they have still not formalized in form of a law.
okay.
So UAE not going to be first to introduce.
Right.
And
If-
even if it introduces, it will be the lowest in GC.
That they always kept it as a attraction
Yes.
to be retained
yeah.
for UAE, right?
Yeah. Because it is still considerably low when you compare to the rest of the world.
Very low.
Yeah.
9% rate today is lowest in GCC.
Right.
Okay, no other country has 9. They have at least minimum 10 is Qatar.
Okay.
Others are at 15, which is Oman, Kuwait, and all. And Saudi is at 20%,
Oh,
Okay.
right.
right?
Yeah.
If you look at internationally, even there 9% is there are only maybe 3 or 5 countries which has taxes below this or at this rate. So you are talking of 130 countries,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So all of them have tax rates which are higher than this.
Yeah.
So we are very, very competitive in terms of the rate.
Superb. Moving on to our next question. A limited company, a situation, being a free zone person, earns rental income by leasing service apartment in DMCC, a free zone area jurisdiction. Whether a limited company can treat this rental income as qualifying income and take the benefit of free zone.
So because it's service apartments and it's not a commercial space, so to say, you cannot go into the qualifying activity exemption of 0%
Okay.
or rate of 0%. And therefore, any income earned by leasing service apartments or hotel apartments, even in free zone,
Okay.
and even to a free zone company,
Right.
will still remain taxable.
Okay. Now, what we notice is TCOM area, it is a free zone jurisdiction.
Yes.
But there are a lot of hotels and service apartments over there.
Yes.
So, as a company or a free zone person earning rental income by leasing service is under
Taxable.
it will not come under qualifying.
It will not come under qualifying.
0% tax nahi hai.
No. So, I mean, if you look at other way around, that who will get maximum benefit of the commercial properties being leased in free zone
Right.
are only the free zone authorities. Right?
Right.
How many free zones where you can own property are only DMCC,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or TCOM, some part of TCOM,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
These
lot
are
of
the
places
only
you
two-
can't own. Yeah.
So these are the
Yeah.
only 2 free zone where you can actually own commercial property
Correct.
and lease,
Right.
right?
Right.
So those are handful of owners,
Correct.
but who are the majority stake is the free zone authorities, which
Perfect.
are going to lease out commercial spaces
Mhm.
to other free zone companies, right?
Right.
So the benefit is intended only to those segments
Mm.
and not to everybody else.
Another situation, Mr. X is a director in various UAE companies from where he gets his director fees. Whether director fees earned by Mr. X is subject to corporate tax.
So again, we go back to the discussion on whether it is earned as a remuneration or it is earned as a professional fees. If it is professional fee, it is a business that you are carrying on.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you are doing it with multiple entities, right? You are providing this service. Now, whether that service income collectively exceeds 1 million or not is the threshold that one needs to look at. At the same time, is there a bar on being employed by multiple people? No, if the employers are giving you NOC,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So you could be director employed for maybe 1 or 2 companies and you earn remuneration, then you will not pay tax.
Yeah.
But if you earn service fee income and if total of that service fee income in a year exceeds 1 million dirham, then of course you end up paying tax on it.
Right. But there are situations like these.
There are.
This is the reason this rule has come into play.
That's right.
Right.
There are a lot of people who earn individually without obtaining license, a lot of such income.
Jैसे consulting services.
Consulting
right?
services.
Yeah.
So people know a lot of companies and they get into a consulting arrangement rather than being an employee, right?
Correct.
So if you then earn all this income, then whatever you earn if it exceeds $1 million, you have to register for and pay taxes. Now, even though you don't need a license.
Correct. You don't need.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
See, even in the cases, it's not linked to your obtaining license. That only if I have a license I have to do. No. Even if you do individually without having a freelance visa or whatever, and you do it, you can still get under the corporate tax compliances.
Super.
So, in terms of when we're doing a real estate transaction, so the agency fee, say, for example, the agency fee is 30,000. My question is, so you're always you're collecting that tax from your client. For example, I am buying a
money,
property.
you mean money?
Yes, the tax amount.
No.
So, yes.
No. Agency fee, you charge VAT,
Yes.
you collect from the client.
From
Yeah,
the client.
the VAT.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
The
VAT
VAT, yeah.
is not your expense. Because what you
Yes.
collect from the client, you
You
give it to the government.
You give it to the government.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that is not a cost to the business.
Right.
But same agency fee earned by the company,
Yeah.
they'll pay a 9% corporate tax, which they cannot pass it on.
Or the company would pay a
9%.
9% on the agency fee
That's right.
alone. All
That's
right. And the client pays VAT only
Which you collect and pay to
and
the
then
government.
pay straight to the government.
You
Yeah.
cannot charge a client a corporate tax like you charge VAT.
Oh, right.
It's a
Okay.
cost for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not an indirect levy which you pass it on.
Right.
So this is a cost on the company
Yeah.
which the company has to bear out of its own profits.
Oh,
Superb.
interesting.
So we're running out of time. लेकिन quickly एक summarize अगर करना हो तो आपको हम बताते हैं couple of things. We had a lot of queries today about earning rental income, whether I'm subject to corporate tax. If it is your business, even without license, you have to. Other than that, if you could just summarize certain points, sir.
So very simply, an individual earning salary income under employment contract or any type of wage with incentive, with allowances, all of that is exempt. Any investment related income that it earns is also exempt.
Okay.
Any income from real estate owned in individual name, whether rental or capital gain on sale, both will be exempt.
Okay.
Only place where individual is taxed is in terms of business or profession that he carries on with or without a license. And if the revenue of that business or profession is more than $1 million dirham in a year.
Okay.
So that's the only situation in which he is getting taxed under UAE Corporate Tax law.
Superb. And if
That's
you have,
for individuals.
Huh.
If you talk about real estate, anything that is owned by a company will pay tax on.
simple.
Simple.
I thought you didn't want to keep things simple.
We're running out of time. लेकिन अगर आपके पास और भी सवाल है, you can always connect with CA Nirav Shah on LinkedIn. He's quite active over there as well. CA Nirav Shah आप ढूंढ सकते हैं. Also, Fame Advisory DMCC. The website is the same. Fame Advisory.
www.fame.ae.
www.fame.ae. Thank you so much, sir. जब भी आप आते हैं, बहुत clarity and really you clear all our doubts. So thank you once again for being here.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me here.
Thanks so much. Very informative.